everybody, and welcome to the 8th episode of the Coffin Corner Podcast. I'm your host, 80-year-old Lions fan, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Richie. Richie, what's up?
Not too much. I'm glad you survived the hostile environment that is State Farm Stadium.
Everybody knows Cardinals fans are the worst.
They
Holy
will
crap.
mess you up. That's what you get for being a Lions fan, the most hated team in the NFL, apparently.
Jeez, man. What do you want from me?
They want you to die, Mr. Bond.
Yes. If you don't know, me and Richie went to the Lions-Cardinals game this past Sunday. Good time for me. Semi-good time for Richie watching the Cardinals lose, but as a Lions supporter, I don't think he was too upset.
It was fun to watch Kyler Murray throw fades to the sideline over and over and over again.
It's like we were at practice.
Yeah.
They were just practicing the fade all fourth quarter.
Greg Dortch. No, it was a good game, though. It started off a lot of scoring, and then, the Lions did what they should be doing, which is running the football and controlling the clock and putting drives together. And, yeah, Lions look good. Look like they should be 3-0. Don't understand the Bucs game at all.
Well, I will forever blame it on 55 passing attempts. That's what I'm going to blame it on for the rest of the season.
That is very accurate.
Cannot stress that enough. All right, well, what do you got for us?
Let's dive in. Top 5 this week, I'll be completely honest, I could not think of anything. So I went with an old favorite of mine, which is food.
Yes,
so top
everybody
5
loves
game
food.
Day snacks. Yes, and plus I might have been doing this right before lunch, and maybe I was hungry, so this is what came to mind.
I like to eat right now.
Yeah, when I'm either watching a game on TV at home or I'm at the stadium, what are our go-to snacks? Some of yours on your list, obviously, I agree with. But I'm starting off my top 5, charcuterie, which is a fancy way of saying sliced salami and crackers and cheese.
I was about to say, crackers and cheese is what I wrote because I'm not fancy. I would not have realized.
I also get, we get sliced like salami and stuff, especially. You go to Walmart and they have those sausage packages around the holidays that have cheese and sausage and crackers in them. I don't know what they're actually called, but and you get like a summer sausage from Hickory Farms or something. Oh, so good. So that is one of my favorites. Around the holidays is getting those and slicing up some of that good sausage with those. The crackers are crap, so you get good crackers, but the sausage and cheese that come in there are really good.
Trent, I like that trade, by the way. Saying you have Kamara and Barkley still. Trading Cook and McLaurin for A.J. Brown and White, that works for me. White's a good third. Then getting A.J. I think A.J.'s much better than McLaurin. McLaurin's fine, but A.J. Brown's really good.
He had a good week, but A.J. Brown is going to be far more consistent over the rest of the season.
Yes, exactly. So, good trade. Good trade, I think. Let's see. Well, Goff isn't hurt. Purdy is. Purdy's questionable this week, so I would say Goff. Until you hear anything about Purdy. That's what I would say. You have Marv and DJ too? Okay, you're in a good spot for sure. My number 5 on the food list is the Little Smokies and barbecue sauce.
It's a classic.
I think that started from hanging out at your house for Super Bowl, but now that's like a staple because you just put it in the. It's like a staple because you just put it in the crock pot, cook it, and then just pull them out and eat them. Oh, it's so good, so good.
They are delicious.
All right.
So my number 4. This is more at the stadium. Peanuts, classic. Even during football game, peanuts, classic. Even during football games, just having something to munch on. Baseball, it's obvious. There's so much downtime. You need something to do. But even football, I love just having a bag of peanuts, and they pair well with a beer. So yeah, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, it is. Every time I go, so I have season ticket base season. I'm a season ticket holder for the Diamondbacks, and every game we go to, we get peanuts because they're just perfect. And the best part is when you don't eat them at home, at the baseball game, you can just throw them wherever you want. On the ground, beside you, at the person's head in front of you. It doesn't matter. It's everything. Everything's on the table. So it's good. My number 4 is soft pretzels and nacho cheese. Can't go wrong. I mean, pretty classic, right?
That's actually I had that Cheetos pretzel at the stadium for the game with some cheese dip. It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It's very messy because I mean you're getting Cheeto dust on your hands, which is never fun.
That's why I don't eat Cheetos these days.
Delicious.
All right, there it's back. Etienne or Singletary this week? What is it? Sneak peek of the fantasy section at the end. I would go with Singletary. That's my pick for you.
It's tough to trust any Jaguar right now. I worry about the Giants having to give up the run against the Cowboys tomorrow. But yeah, Singletary's probably the one that I would trust. If I had Singletary though, I'd try to make sure I have Tyrone Tracy because I have a feeling they're going to get Tyrone Tracy more involved.
Yeah, a lot like having Rashad White and wanting Bucky Irving.
So, gotta have Bucky Irving if you have Rashad White.
Yeah, exactly. Because Bucky Irving is about to become the starter, I think.
Yeah, so. I agree. My number 3 snack, another classic, but this is a must for me, especially me and my dad. Hot dogs. We would love. Always before the game, we'd get a hot dog and sit and watch the giant screens for what was happening in the early games, and sit and watch the giant screens for what was happening in the early games. But we also stop at Portillo's on the way out of town to get ourselves a good Chicago-style hot dog. Absolutely fantastic.
I say one of my favorite things about the Diamondbacks is they have all their like high money hot dogs, but they have value hot dogs too that are like $2.99 a piece, which in a stadium is a great price. And so
that's a great price at a
I'll
gas
always
station
get
at this point.
Because you can get 2 of those for their regular hot dog price. And so I'm always about the value dogs. I love some hot dogs.
I love the all-you-can-eat seats at Chase Field and just eating 5 or 6 hot dogs all game. I mean, that is...
Yeah, for sure.
That is awesome.
Yeah, those seats are pretty great. Ramondre didn't do anything in Week 4, and I'm on the train that my belief in the Patriots going forward... I think their best days are behind them now. That beginning of the season was it. Ramondre or Singletary, I'd take Singletary. That's a battle of the bottom, but I would take Singletary.
Well, you better hope they win another 4 games for you to hit your over call.
I still think they're good enough to do that, but they're not going to beat good teams. That's for sure.
No, I don't think they won't be able to beat the 49ers, even though they're undermanned. But the problem is to win games, they have to rely on Stevenson. He's their best player on offense. So
no,
tough to bench him.
Exactly. My number 3 is meatballs. Just meatballs.
Classic.
Doesn't matter if sauced or not. Just cook up some meatballs. I
really unsauced even.
I'll eat unsauced meatballs. I don't even care.
All right.
But yeah,
that's that.
One of my favorites.
I love. My dad always does. You get the frozen bag of meatballs. They're small, but you can get throw them in a crock pot with some sauce, cook them all day, and then make meatball subs.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's good.
Yeah. My number 2, nachos. I love making nachos because I do it in a weird way. I do ground beef, and then I get jars of salsa con queso, put it in a pot, warm that up, throw the meat in, and then I use a lasagna pan, basically, and put chips, and then pour some cheese, and then chips and cheese. So I make like nacho lasagna, and you can't eat it with your hands. You have to eat it with a fork, but it's delicious.
Yeah. Pretty much in this point, they make nachos so you cannot eat them by hand. That is... They put... The word loaded is put in front of everything these days, but it is true that they are so loaded that you cannot even get your hand on the nacho without coming away covered in crap. So, yeah.
Especially if you're at a sports bar, they've got like guac and sour cream and pico de gallo and all that crap on there. Like, I love the classic just chips and cheese too, you know. But if I'm making nachos, I like to make them that way. And yeah, it's you eat it with a fork like it's a lasagna, and it is delicious, man. Tostitos salsa con queso.
Yeah, for sure. Delicious.
For some reason, the comments on the live are not updating for me at all, so you have to answer all the questions.
Oh, really? Weird. Okay. Well,
yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'll read it to you. Here you go. Rodgers or Baker, week 4, from Justin Holguin.
Rodgers. They play a bad team. They play the Broncos. Yeah, Rodgers.
Okay. And that's the most recent one. The other one I answered was Ayuk and Pitts for Marvin Harrison and Jalen Warren. Oh, we got another one after that. I said yes.
I'd rather have Ayuk and Pitts. I know tight end is so rough. Pitts hasn't been great, but he's still one of the more talented ones. Yeah, I'd rather keep Ayuk and Pitts.
Deontay Johnson for Jaden Reed and 3rd round pick next year in the Dynasty League.
Yes. Deontay Johnson looked good with Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton will not start the rest of the season. Jaden Reed, once Jordan Loves comes back in, that's his favorite target. So yeah.
And another one. Who wins? Jettas, Marv, Connor, McLaurin, or Amon? So this is one side. Jay Jettas, Marv, Connor, McLaurin, or Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Collins. I'm guessing that's Mac Collins? No, that's Hollins. Who's Collins?
Mac Hollins? Nico Collins from the Texans. Yeah.
That's right. Who's Collins?
Mac Hollins? Nico Collins from the Texans. Yeah.
That's right.
I mean,
I'm not a huge fan of stacking the same team. Yeah, but having Gibbs. I mean, they're two good players, and it's a good team, so you're probably still going to get points from both Amon-Ra and Gibbs, but sometimes when they have a bad game, it's either one or the other, and I like not stacking people on the same team, so, I mean, that's probably the only reason I wouldn't do it, but then you also are trading Marv and Connor, who are both on the same team, so I'd go with the Lions over the Cardinals for the double.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say I think it's a good call.
Also, we got start Love or Hurts. Love isn't for sure playing yet, right? Let's pretend he is.
It's not
playing
official,
for sure.
but I think he ends up playing. Hurts. I think Minnesota and Green Bay is going to be high scoring, but I don't know how much Love's going to want to run in the first game back with that knee injury. Whereas Hurts, he'll get you some rushing yards. No, he may not have any weapons, though. Boy, that is a tough one.
All right, let's finish off the foods, and then we'll get to your question.
Yeah, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is chips and salsa. I mean, I eat that for literally every snack, if I could. Those little like tiny buckets of Tostitos salsa that you can buy, the little plastic ones. You can buy them in like big packages. Just I bring one of those to work with some chips. It's a perfect snack. Watching football, even better, because then I got the bucket of salsa.
I'm a picante sauce guy, but I will destroy picante sauce. I will drink it straight out of the bottle.
That makes sense. It is delicious.
Yeah. My number 1 is wings. I'm not a spicy guy, so I don't do all the super hot crap that they have in Hot Ones. But I love chicken, and I love buffalo flavoring. If it's not too overpowering. Not usually. I don't usually do like garlic parmesan or mango. Any of that stuff. It's either buffalo, barbecue, or honestly just plain. Just fry me a wing and let me eat it. But yeah, I freaking love wings.
Speaking of buffalo, guess what we had for dinner tonight?
Buffalo chicken sliders.
Boom, you got it.
Surprised that wasn't on your list.
Yeah, I know, right? They are so freaking good.
We
had the jalapenos sliced up. We had everything. The
Hawaiian with it.
The little Hawaiian rolls.
Yeah, King's Hawaiian.
Perfect. My number one.
Jaden Daniels and Garrett Wilson for Rashee Rice. I have Kyler. No, because Garrett Wilson and Rashee Rice are. Yeah, I mean, if you want to trade Garrett Wilson for Rashee Rice, that's straight up fine. You have no reason to throw in Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's. He must just. Is he the one trading Jaden Daniels? That's the question. Because he must really want Jaden Daniels.
No, he's trading Jaden Daniels and Garrett Wilson for Rashee Rice. Yeah, you don't need to trade both those guys. Garrett Wilson for Rice straight up. Yeah, you're way overpaying. All right, sorry. What's your number one?
My number one is one I didn't see on the list. I literally went 5 down to 1. So when I was trying to think of number one, I looked at both our lists and I realized that neither of us had pizza on there, and that just seems like the most common, easy pick ever.
It's a crime to not have pizza on there,
dude. That Spinatos I had at the Cardinals game was amazing. If you live in a place that has
Sunday when I go,
if you live in a place that has Spinatos pizza, you gotta eat it. It is so freaking good. But pizza,
it looked good.
Amazing snack.
I'm gonna get that going to the Commanders game Sunday, and I'm gonna try the Panados this time.
I see you, Dave.
That's delicious.
I see you in there, Dave.
What's up, Dave?
Is Moss and Scary Terry for Monty a fair trade? So Zach Moss, Terry McLaurin for David Montgomery. I
think so.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it just because I feel like I don't know. I feel like Moss.
David Montgomery is a good upgrade over Zach Moss.
I would say let's put numbers on it, right? I feel like David Montgomery, if it's 1 through 5, David Montgomery 5. I would put Zach Moss at a 3.5 to 4, and Terry at a 3. So you're getting more value, but I don't know.
The problem is Chase Brown is involved a lot in Cincinnati. So for me, it's like as high. Moss is as high is a 3 as high as he goes. Terry is coming off a big game, but is he going to continue? Whereas Montgomery is somebody that it's like, yeah, he's a running back 1. You just put him in your lineup and you're good to go. So I would do the trade if you're not starting Terry and he's like your 4th or 5th receiver. I would do that trade.
See, I thought that Zach Moss was top 10 rushing, but after last week he must have dropped significantly. Where is he? Oh yeah, he's 33 now with only 136 yards. Okay, after the first couple weeks, he was. Yeah, I'm with you there. PPR, 0.5 PPR, so not a whole full point for the reception. Trade Ayuk and Laporta for Godwin and Najee. Be completely honest with you right now as a Lions fan. I don't know what they're doing with Laporta, and unless something changes this week, I would say that is a fair trade.
Not at all. Ayuk and Laporta for Chris Godwin and Najee Harris?
Godwin's going crazy, and Najee's getting way more points a week than Laporta is. So, yes. Is this a dynasty league? Because if it's not, it doesn't really matter what their names are.
Tight end is a crapshoot. I would keep Laporta, who's still a top 5 tight end in the league. It's only week 3. There's no reason to cut bait on a guy. I would not do that deal.
What are we on? Oh, we're moving on to the news.
News.
Right?
So news, I mean, a lot of injuries. Biggest ones, quarterback position. Skylar Thompson for the Dolphins is day-to-day with his rib injury. Brock Purdy's also day-to-day, but looks like he's going to play. Justin Herbert, I forgot to write him on here, but he is day-to-day or week-to-week. They won't commit to anything, but I'd be surprised if he played. He was in a walking boot after the game, so I think he's going to miss at least 1 week.
Who's their backup?
Chargers, Easton Stick.
That's right.
And Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke is also their backup.
A name that just makes me think of baseball bats.
Yeah. It's the name of a baseball bat company, Easton Stick.
And then the last name's Stick. Another name for bat. Like, come on, dude. Who did
I think
that to you?
if Herbert missed time, they'd probably start Heineke.
Yeah,
but this week they play the Chiefs. So
crazy. Heineke's not even listed on the Chargers website on their depth chart.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah,
I'm like
in the game, I think.
Yeah, he was in at the end of the last game.
Also for the Chargers, Derwin James, their safety, was suspended for a game for dangerous hits.
Okay, but I got a comment on that too. Drip season. I can't tell you all the ingredients of a hot dog. You might not like it. I will still eat it.
Yeah, I know what's in a hot dog.
Pig's feet, pig's ears. Delicious. You like
it's
all
snouts
kinds of
and ears and hooves and anything they sweep off the floor.
Hooves.
Yeah,
hooves.
Yeah. It's just whatever they sweep off the floor, but hey,
they make it work. That's all I'm saying.
Sausage-fy it, and it's delicious.
And then another one we had. Should I start Jaden Daniels or Kyler Murray this week? I also have Marv.
Murray, the Commanders' secondary is absolutely horrible. They won Monday, but look how many points and yards they gave up. Kyler will carve them to pieces.
Not to mention, if Marv plays, because suddenly he's questionable today. If Marv plays, you're doubling up on points. So that's
and he's going to have at least 100 yards and a touchdown if he doesn't catch 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I would go with Kyler.
Yep. No. So, anyways, on the Derwin James thing.
Yeah.
Did you see who made the public announcement about it? About the appeal?
No.
It was John Runyon. I guess he's a rep for the league. And
isn't he like a fullback or former fullback?
He was a tackle, I think.
Was he a tackle? Okay.
But regardless, he said, your repeated disregard for the NFL's rules have put you in this position, and the something's upheld. And I'm like, it was hilarious because underneath his statement on X were a bunch of videos of him just fucking spearing people after the play was over next to the pile. And I'm like,
that's too funny.
That's hilarious. Rules for thee, but not for me. And everyone's like, well, this is what football used to be. I'm like, it was never okay to spear someone after the play was over.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it was 1990. You
I
could not hit someone.
Everybody was like, well, of course he gets suspended right before they play the Chiefs. And it's like, guys, they weren't going to win that game without Justin Herbert anyways. It doesn't matter if Derwin James plays.
Yeah, exactly.
And last thing, quarterback-wise, the Raiders, considering a quarterback change, they pulled Gardner Minshew during the loss to the Panthers and put in O'Connell.
They kind of changed already during the game.
Yeah. I don't think they've announced who's going to start this week yet. They play the Browns. Yeah, I don't know. It's ugly because I do like Devontae Adams and I have him in a couple leagues, but it's like, boy, who knows who's going to throw him the ball? Is he going to get traded before the trade deadline now? I don't know.
All right, so user and a bunch of numbers asks, start 2. Montgomery, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Deontay Johnson, Scary Terry.
Montgomery and probably Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I think I saw the defense rank against Garrett Wilson this week is pretty good.
Well, he's going to get shadowed by Patrick Surtain, which does make me a little bit nervous. If not Garrett Wilson, it would be Scary Terry. Just because that game, Commanders and Cardinals, Commanders are going to have to throw a lot, as always. So Terry should have a pretty good day. I like Garrett Wilson more, but if he gets shadowed by Patrick Surtain, he could end up getting shut down.
Yeah.
Definitely Montgomery.
We got a couple more questions. Yeah, that's a user said, I'm worried about Pat, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I would probably go with Terry at that. It makes me a little nervous, too.
Scotty Bauer asks, should I do CD, Derrick Henry, and Kyron for James Cook, JT, Nico, and Zay Flowers? You know, I was all
up again.
He's giving up CD, Derrick Henry, and Kyron Williams. See, before last week, I was all out on Kyron because I thought the offensive line was gone. The offense was going to have to be passing a lot because of the fact that they're going to be playing from behind. And then Kyron Williams goes off for like 35 fantasy points. So Kyron still got it. Or at least he did 1 week. And Derrick Henry had a really good week last week. I've always been out on Derrick Henry, but he actually had, over 100 yards and a touchdown at least last week. So,
he did, yeah. He had a monster game.
So, I mean, you're getting more players, but I just don't know if you're getting the same value of players.
I would probably do that trade. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's awesome. James Cook, Buffalo looks legit this year. Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, all right. I would probably do that.
Yeah, I think that you're getting equal value and you're getting more players. So as long as you have room to start them, then I'd say yes.
I have to imagine you'd be probably starting at least 3 of them, maybe Flowers on the bench. But yeah,
and
I'd probably do that trade.
I don't agree with the Kyron falling off with Coop and Puka coming back, only because when Puka and Cup were there last year, that's when he thrived the most. So I feel like having that balanced offense to give more room for him to run, because they're respecting the pass, is what actually makes him really good. But
yeah,
okay, let me see if I can. Shaboy Poppy, I got it, nailed it. Trade Tyreek and Stevenson. Wait, trade Tyreek, Stevenson, Rashad White for Devontae Adams and Monty and Keon Coleman. Wow, that was tough.
No.
Yeah.
No, we just talked about Devontae Adams' quarterback situation. Keon Coleman looks like the 3rd option in Buffalo.
At best.
Yeah, I know. I would not do that trade.
Kyle Borger says Charbonnet, so the Seahawk, Charbonnet and DJ Moore for Jacobs. I have Rice and Devonta Smith. I actually like that simply because Charbonnet is not a point. That's like you throw him on a bye week if you have to, Charbonnet. Yeah, except Kenneth Walker's out, so yeah. I get that part.
Kenneth Walker will come back. Yeah, I'd probably make that move.
No.
All right. Let's dive on into our Thursday night foreplay from last week.
We'll be back to the questions. Just hold on a second.
We'll get through our foreplay real quick. So last week, I hit 3 out of 4. Rodgers over 1.5 passing touchdowns, over 200 yards, and Lazard over 2 receptions. But Ramondre Stevenson could not hit 50 rushing yards, which he had done
which is
2 weeks.
Rough.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker. I thought it was a pretty good bet. I used my 50 weeks.
Rough.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker. I thought it was a pretty good bet. I used my 50% boost from FanDuel and missed it by 1.
Yeah, because he just moved out of the top 10 in rushing in the league with 224 yards, and he couldn't get 50 last week compared to. So you take
30.
Let's take 30 off his 224. He's still at 190 something, which means that 50 should have been easy. That was a rough game.
The game got out of hand, and the Patriots had to abandon the run.
Yep.
Let's see. You had 2 out of 4. You had Patriots plus 8.5, but they lost big. Jalen Polk under 17.5 yards receiving.
How crazy that I got that, but didn't get the next one.
Yeah, that under 1.5 receptions, he caught 2.
He caught 2 receptions, so he went over the 1.5, but he didn't get over the 17.5 yards.
Yeah, and then Braylon Allen, 20-plus rushing yards. That was a good one. It looks like Braylon Allen is going to be involved quite a bit.
Braylon Allen looks good. There are a lot of rookie running backs that are playing second fiddle to actually big-name running backs that are doing really good. And Braylon Allen is one of them.
Aaron Rodgers likes Braylon Allen more than he likes Breece Hall, and we're going to see a lot of Braylon Allen.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see some of these guys that are emerging like this. I love that every year. But I love halfbacks in general. I like rooting for the underdog here since no one wants to pay halfbacks these days. But watching... This might be contributing to the problem, the fact that you can just bring in a rookie like this and have that success. But I like seeing the running backs do well, and then seeing Bucky Irving do well, Braylon Allen. There's a plethora of the young rookies. Trey Benson, a lot of good young running backs. So
for this week's foreplay, tomorrow night's game, Dallas and the Giants. I'm going CD heavy. He's against me in 2 fantasy leagues, which usually means they go off. So I'm calling CD anytime touchdown, over 79.5 receiving yards, over 6.5 total receptions, and the Cowboys minus 6.5. I think they win by a touchdown or more.
You know, I tried to adjust for the Giants to 7.5, but it just would not get me over the plus 400 to get my bonus in. Because I was going Giants plus 7.5. But what I did do was CeeDee Lamb 6.5 receptions, which is one of yours, right? So
yeah,
we both got that one.
He's not going to hit that now.
Yeah,
clearly he's not going to hit it.
Brandon Aubrey, who's been doing very well, I've got him at over 1.5 field goals. Devin Singletary 50-plus rushing yards. And lastly, Malik Neighbors' longest reception over 23.5 yards.
That's a good one. You don't usually pick bets like that. I like that.
I'm like, Neighbors is just going crazy. He's pretty much their entire offense, and so it's either going to be Singletary running it, who he did pretty decently last week, and then Neighbors just the last 3 weeks has been going crazy. So yeah, that's what I got.
Awesome. Well. Yeah, both our bets are I'm plus 479, you're plus 480, so both using our no sweat bet on FanDuel, I imagine.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. All right, you ready? You want some more questions? Of these? Can you read them yet, or are you?
No, for some reason it's not automatically loading them in the live.
That's crazy. Okay, well I got some for you. Username just a period, that's their name. Dowdle still available on waivers. Should I pick him up and start him over Carson Steele? I would.
Yeah. I know everybody. They tried to get Carson Steele going. He got some good yards, but didn't look that impressive. Kareem Hunt's now on the active roster. I think he's going to be involved. So I would rather be starting Dowdle over Steele.
I never really thought Steele was going to go do anything crazy anyway, just for the simple fact that he started the year as their fullback. And suddenly their fullback's their starting running back. That just doesn't seem like it was going to go well, but yeah. Drico Dowdle, it's either him or Ezekiel Elliott, and Ezekiel Elliott's old and not the starter. Even though he gets carries, not the guy anymore.
Well, I think the Cowboys are going to run away with that game pretty easily, so they should be running the ball quite a bit. And yeah, why give it to your starter Zeke? Give it to Dowdle. So,
let's see. Is Addison worth the stash?
Yeah, it depends on who's available and as a free agent, but yeah, I think so. You look at how Naylor's doing, like that should be Addison. So when he's healthy, he'll come back and step right into that role, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Addison is definitely the guy. Naylor's stepped into that role, which in my opinion just proves that Addison's going to get those targets when he comes back. So
Yeah.
Dak or Lamar this week?
Ooh. I'm going to say Lamar because they're playing Buffalo. Buffalo's going to score. Dak's going to have to throw. He's going to have to run. He's going to have to be Superman, basically, to win that game. So I would go with Lamar.
All right, Duncan MH asks, start 2, Charbonnet, Olave, Moore.
Definitely Olave and probably Charbonnet. If Kenneth Walker's still out for Monday night.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, Kenneth Walker's still questionable, and I don't know what his status is.
Yeah.
Mateo Beltrano asks, who do I bench? Garrett Wilson, Hubbard, Jennings, or DJ Moore this week? Is that Jawan Jennings?
I assume so. That's the only Jennings I know.
That would be my pick.
Unless it's Rashad Jennings from years ago.
Yeah, if Brock Purdy's hurt, Jawan Jennings just had a crazy week last week. Had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he ain't gonna do that again.
He's not doing that this week.
I would probably still start him over DJ Moore. I don't know. I need to see it from Caleb Williams. I know DJ Moore's not doing too badly.
Here's the thing. If it's not PPR, definitely. If it is PPR, I'd still keep DJ Moore because regardless of the yardage he's getting thrown to and making catches.
He's catching.
They're going for yards or not. So that's points regardless of yards. Rico or Bucky?
Start this week?
I think so. Rico or Bucky Irving? I would say
I'd rather
Rico.
have Bucky Irving. Yeah, I'd rather have Bucky Irving long-term.
Bucky.
But yeah, Rico this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we got a few more, but let's move on to our next section, and then we'll answer those after the next section of the pod.
So we'll blast through our Week 3 review, starting with last Thursday game, Patriots and Jets. Jets just destroyed them. The Patriots could not get anything going offensively. Jets defense was just pressuring them, blitzing, stuff in the run, shut them down completely. So,
once again, another boring primetime game.
Yep.
There have been a lot of really boring primetime games. Yeah. Congratulations, Jets fans. You loved that game. I turned it off at halftime.
No. Giants-Browns. Giants pull off a good upset, in my opinion. Malik Neighbors continues to look like an absolute beast, which is awesome. Amari Cooper looked better. Still lost, though.
No.
And, the Browns. It's a shame because they have a lot of talented players in the Browns, but Deshaun Watson looks like a shell of what he was in Houston. And Nick Chubb's not there, and Myles Garrett's banged up, and Yeah,
they started that game quick. It was a 24-yard touchdown at the 14:55 mark.
Yeah, I believe Deshaun Watson threw a pick right away, or they fumbled the opening kickoff. Something happened.
Well, New York had to have. That's probably why Deshaun Watson got that touchdown. Yeah, 1st and 10 at the New York Giants 24. First play of the game, Deshaun Watson, touchdown to Amari Cooper. I'm like, okay, the Browns back? Nope. Yeah. Turns out that the Giants had their number. And Deshaun Watson didn't do bad. 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's just they still don't have it figured out.
Yeah, 196 yards doesn't get my motor going. Texans, Vikings, man, another crazy win over a team I gave them no chance of beating.
Didn't I pick them last week?
I think you did, yeah.
No.
I didn't think they'd beat the Texans at all, but Sam Darnold, good for him.
4 touchdowns.
He is enjoying a hell of a second career.
Career resurgence in Minnesota.
Yeah. He's like, I was going to say Kurt Warner, but Kurt was good for the Rams before he went to New York and was bad, and then to Arizona. Sam Darnold this is basically his first career. He just redshirted for a couple of years. But yeah, good for him. I'm not worried about the Texans. I still think they're a good team.
What's the Texans right? The 2-1? Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah. Minnesota's defensive coordinator is just very, very good at shutting people down. And I can't remember. He's a big name. I just cannot remember what it is right now.
Yep.
Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, Brian Flores.
That's it. Yeah, the guy everyone's tossed to the side because they don't like that he makes ripples and waves. I've always liked Brian Flores when he was listed as
like that he didn't like Tua.
Well, when he was listed as a possible interview for the head coaching job of the Cardinals, I was actually excited because I like Brian Flores, but blackballed.
He's showing now after beating the 49ers and the Texans. He's like, oh, I can coach a defense, baby.
He's still blackballed. Probably will never be a head coach again. But
you think? You don't think he'll get a chance after this year?
He's still got his lawsuit against the NFL. The co-owners are blocking him like crazy. He will never be a head coach again, unfortunately.
That's a shame. Because he's probably going to have a pretty good year as their defensive coordinator, and some team out there next year desperately needs him. Yeah,
like I said, I would either the Cardinals or the Lions if we ever needed a head coach again. Let's hope we don't for a long time. I would be totally fine with Brian Flores. So, here, I got some where questions are backing up, so let me give you some of these real quick. All right. So, I'll start from the bottom up. Julian asks, who should I start, James Conner or James Cook?
James Conner against the Commanders. Start at any time there's a question about starting someone and they're playing the Commanders, it should be a yes.
I feel like that's true with receivers. I don't know how true it is with
it's true with tight ends. If you're starting an offensive lineman, play him against the Commanders. Literally the worst defense in the league.
Okay, I told my buddy at work watching Monday Night Football. I turned to him. I said, I am not going to listen to Richie anymore about Washington. I'm like, as far as picks go, because you're telling me to pick against them every week, and I'm looking at what I'm seeing, and the defense is bad, yes, but the offense is fine.
Oh, the offense surprised the hell out of everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna have to independently answer. Because I'm always afraid to go against you on your own team, but now at this point, it's like I got it wrong last week. So I don't know.
By all means, we won the game, but we did give up 36 points and a ridiculous amount of. The defense is the worst in the league. It's just the offense. Maybe they're not that bad. Maybe they can score some points and move the ball. They've done it 2 weeks in a row. I like it. But
there have been plenty of good playoff teams that are just like that. So,
hey, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. D's, hey. Steeler Higgins at flex. Please, I need help. We got you, D's.
I would go with Higgins. I worry about Carson Steele with Kareem Hunt active now.
And T. Higgins, he dropped a lot of big passes in that Monday night game. But on the opposite side of that, he was being thrown to a lot in big situations. So after that was his first game back. So he should be better, and he should still be getting those targets. Unless, after this week, Burrow's like, okay, well, I can't throw to him in the end zone because he had multiple. And the thing is, he caught the ball. But he just did not get the second foot in on at least 3 catches. And so he just gets his feet. He gets his feet right. He's good. And I still believe he's one of the best receivers in the league because I've seen his crazy catches. The one from last year always sticks in my head where he caught that ball at the 2-yard line with one hand, did a pirouette, jumped backwards with his hand over his head, and leaned it over the fucking goal line. Guy's crazy. Yeah. So.
And he's playing for a contract somewhere next season, so he's very motivated.
Oh yeah, whoever gets him is going to be very happy.
Yeah.
My friend just sent me. I'm giving him CD for ETN and Garrett Wilson. Ooh.
No.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I would not. Yeah, I would not do that trade.
Montgomery and Rashid for Kyron. Well, that's like a 1-for-1 for me because Rashid is starting Rashid in a fantasy football is like playing the lottery. You're either going to get a 0 or you're going to get a 15. Last week he got a 0. The 2 weeks before that he got decent points, but yeah, Rashid is not a guy that gets a lot of volume. He just gets long passes. He's Jamison Williams from the past 2 years. Because Jamo back last year and the year before that, Jamo was only catching passes if they were long for touchdowns. Otherwise, you were getting nothing out of Jamison Williams. So,
yep, I'd rather have Kyron than Montgomery. I like Montgomery, but Kyron is more explosive and the only thing in town.
Ivan asks, will the Rams still make the playoffs?
No. Sorry.
I think they're too banged up to make the playoffs. And I think I picked them as a playoff team. But in our preseason podcast, I think I picked the Rams as a playoff team. Holy shit, what just happened to the chat? It went crazy. We got like 5 questions in a second there. All right, we're going to go over some more game recaps, and we'll come back to your questions.
All right, so let's power through some. So we're Eagles Saints. What a low-scoring game that turned out to be. I think everybody expected a shootout.
That thing was crazy.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the Saints. I think they're not going to score 40 points a game. We knew that, but I think they'll be fine. Kamara is banged up, though. Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and they barely the Eagles escaped barely beating the Saints. A minute and 5 seconds, Saquon with a rush into the end zone. That was just the killer, of course, but like did not expect the Eagles to come back in that game, even though it was low scoring.
Yeah. Ugly game. Big game for Dallas Goedert. Hopefully Devonta Smith's okay. If they're missing A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, that's going to be rough.
Yeah, going back to what we just said about Rashid Shaheed, 5 targets, 0 catches in that game.
Yeah, that's what happens with home run hitters like that.
Yep, those are the risks you take.
Steelers get the win over the Chargers. Justin Fields 3-0 as a starter. They are riding that defense, and he's playing clean football. For the Chargers, losing Justin Herbert is going to hurt them.
Yeah, that's going to be bad. If you have J.K. Dobbins, play him because they're going to lean on J.K. Dobbins real hard this week.
And hopefully he does not wear down.
Yeah, hopefully he stays good. I mean, he stayed good so far. I think this might be the season. I'm knocking on wood now. I think this might be the season he stays healthy.
Yeah, I'd like to see him be able to play a full season. Broncos with the shock upset of the Bucks. Baker Mayfield kind of regressed a little bit after playing well the first 2 weeks.
I think they relaxed and decided they were really good and they were fine. Yeah, because all the interviews I heard with Baker this week were like, yeah, we're good. And then they got their ass handed to them by the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
So
that is the fear when you get too full of yourself. But, we talked about Bucky Irving. He had 9 carries. Rashad Wright had 6. Rashad Wright did have 6 targets. Bucky Irving had 3. So it's almost a 50-50 split. Definitely.
You didn't talk about the yards.
Rashad White. Well, yeah. Yeah, obviously Bucky Irving, 70 yards to Rashad Wright, 17.
7.8 yard average versus a 2.8.
Yeah, but 32 of those came on 1 run. So still a better average than Rashad White. But if you have Rashad White, you want to have Bucky Irving too.
Nope.
Packers Titans. Malik Willis is 2-0 as a starter in Green Bay and gets to beat his old team. And to me, this says that Matt LaFleur might be one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Kind of crazy.
Which I hate.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Malik Willis not looking too bad, and LaFleur's coaching him well. So, credit where it's due.
Even on a day where Malik Wilson and Josh Jacobs were not rushing the ball super effectively, they still managed to... Because last week they ran the ball. Malik Willis start. Josh Jacobs ran the ball down the throat of their opponent. This week, he had to actually do some passing to help them win the game, and they did. So,
and he ran the ball himself as well. So,
yeah,
good for the Packers to... If Jordan Love is back and only missed 2 games and they won both of them, that worked out very well for the Packers.
I think that was the other one I picked different than you that I got right.
Yeah, I don't remember. We'll have to look at the picks here in a moment. Bears Colts. Colts get the win in an ugly game. Caleb Williams 363 yards and 2 touchdowns, but again, wins and losses are what matter in the end. He also threw 2 interceptions and lost a fumble. So, shades of Justin Fields in Chicago. You can put up stats, but then make the bad plays and lose the game.
I think it was a late Jonathan Taylor touchdown that won this game.
Yeah.
5 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. He had a touchdown to put him up 21-9. Yeah, they got a Cole Kmet touchdown for the Bears with 2 minutes left, and then it was over after that. So.
Yep. Panthers Raiders. Panthers get a big win with Randy Dalton behind center. They make the change, and they look like a completely different team.
Who's that? Who again?
The Panthers.
Oh, God. The Red Rocket. Andy Dalton.
Yep. The Red Rocket.
The first player this season to throw 300 yards and 3 touchdowns is Andy Dalton for the Panthers. Absolutely insane.
Coming off the bench. Yeah. And it begs the question, if he continues to play like this, Bryce Young's never going to get back on the field this season. And, yeah, I think that kid's career in Carolina might already be over. We talked about the Raiders switching up quarterbacks. Who knows what they're going to end up doing. Dolphins, Seahawks. Seahawks get the win over a Tua-less Dolphins. No surprise.
Soon to be a Skylar Thompson-less Dolphins.
Yes. They did say they didn't want to commit to Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley starting for them next week, but I think he will.
He should. He better.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Lions Cardinals, we talked about it. The Lions get a good win running the ball and making Kyler Murray throw fades to the sideline all day. Good win for Detroit.
Hard not to talk about that game without talking about the 2-minute interception pick 6 that got pulled back. Very big point of contention on the internet. Lots of screen caps of 2:01 with the ball being snapped, while there are other screen caps of 2 minutes with the ball being snapped. But as a Lions fan, what it boils down to is the whistle was blown, and that's how you play the game. So you can't blame the Lions for that. You got to blame the referees if you blame anyone. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, game's over, too. There's no use in complaining about the result. Ravens, Cowboys.
There are plenty of people still complaining on Wednesday morning.
That's what the internet is for.
Yeah.
Ravens, the Cowboys made this one close, but the Ravens really did dominate them all day. Derrick Henry, 151 yards and 2 touchdowns, looking like he's 5 years younger. Cowboys at 1-2. I mean, they desperately need to play the Giants and get a win. Falling to 1-3 would be unheard of in Dallas.
Assuming they win, because I'm not sure they do. But
I would love if they lost, but yeah. 49ers Rams, good. Upset by the Rams. Overcoming Jawan Jennings' monster game.
Yeah.
But Kyron Williams did just about everything he could to power the Rams to a win. The 49ers are so understaffed. They just couldn't get good to power the Rams to a win. The 49ers are so understaffed. They just couldn't get it done. Yeah, weird start to the season for a couple teams. That 49ers, Cowboys, Ravens, all 1-2. Like I
Bengals 0-3.
Yeah,
Like,
crazy start to the season.
Yeah.
Chiefs and Falcons. Chiefs get the win. I mean, Falcons had a chance at the end, but just couldn't quite overcome Kansas City, which not many people can.
Yeah.
Jags, Bills. Bills just destroyed the Jaguars, and I think people
another primetime game not worth watching unless you're a Bills fan.
Yeah.
Thank goodness that Commanders-Bengals game was on at the same time, because that game was actually fun to watch.
Yeah, that game was exciting.
Yeah.
But the Jaguars look absolutely lost, and frankly, I think Trevor Lawrence is... I mean, they're stuck with him. They paid him in the offseason, but that dude looks terrible. And then Commanders-Bengals, yeah. I mean, our defense is awful, but if we can put up almost 40 points a game in the offense, we'll win some games. I like that Jaden is, hasn't thrown an interception, hasn't lost a fumble. They haven't punted since week 1. Offense is clicking very well. I'm not quite ready to sit there and call playoffs yet, but it's a lot better. He's developing quicker than I expected, which is very exciting.
This was the first game since 1940, I believe. Maybe I'm thinking of the stat wrong. I think this is the first game since 1940 where both teams did not punt.
There were no turnovers or punts.
No turnovers or punts. That's what it was.
Yep.
I knew there was I thought there was a second part to that. But yeah, no turnovers and no punts. First game since 1940. That's insane.
Yeah, very, very exciting game, obviously, to watch. And yeah, I mean, I loved what I saw out of Jaden Daniels in the offense, getting Terry involved. I love seeing Brian Robinson involved. So yeah, hopefully they can keep it up. And kudos to Kingsbury, man. The thing about Cliff Kingsbury is he's a great offensive coordinator. He's just a terrible head coach. He is not a leader of men. He's
Let
just a
him
very
be
good play caller.
And just do his job as a coordinator and not have to deal with all the stuff of a head coach, and he's fine.
Yep.
Apparently.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
All right. We got to get you some of your questions here. I know some of you are there waiting now. You answered AB, so I'll go to Christian Vasquez. Would y'all drop Quentin Johnson for Rico Dowdle?
Yes, especially with Herbert probably going to be out for a week or two or longer.
Yeah, I don't see anyone behind Dowdle pulling him out of being the main guy getting carries in Dallas. Let's see. Goddard, tight end opinion. He's good. He had 11 targets last game. He had most yards on the Eagles last game. Goddard's great tight end.
Yeah, with Devontae Smith possibly missing time, A.J. Brown's still out, he's in for a couple great weeks because they're going to feed him.
All right. Asks Ayuk and Pacheco for DJ Moore and Kenneth Walker.
No. I'd rather have Ayuk and Pacheco when he comes back.
I think that depends on how dire your running back situation is, because if you need someone now, Kenneth Walker will be back before Pacheco, but you're giving up a lot for just a few weeks of points, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it. I'm sure you could probably go on the waiver wire and find somebody like Roshan Johnson, who might be the new starter in Chicago, or take a chance on Kareem Hunt. Waiver wire and find somebody like Roshan Johnson, who might be the new starter in Chicago, or take a chance on Kareem Hunt in Kansas City. Like, I wouldn't make that trade.
Yeah. Let's see. Where was that? Oh, ellipsis, or 3 dots. Yo, should I start Johnny Wilson? Since Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown are out. Who?
I'm not familiar with
Johnny Wilson. My,
I know Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, I don't know who Johnny Wilson is. My assumption is no.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's the Eagles wide receiver. I mean, I probably wouldn't start him.
The question is, if you have... Oh, okay. You didn't say you have Devonta Smith and J.J. Brown. I'll say, like, what are you dropping to pick up Johnny Wilson? But you're just assuming that with those guys out, as a guy you could pick up to start. I don't know, man. That's an interesting one. What I'm willing to bet there are better options because the Eagles' offense hasn't been that stout this season to warrant a fourth-string receiver pickup start.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are second and third receivers on good teams that are probably still on the waiver wire, depending on how many teams are in your league.
Yeah.
Trade Kamara and Pickens for Rice and Mason. No.
I don't know. I kind of like that.
I don't. Kamara's going crazy, and Pickens is just fine.
Well, Kamara's banged up and older. Mason's younger. McCaffrey's probably not playing at all this season.
Mason's also
and Rashee
unproven.
Rice looks like a beast. Who's the
Kamara's
receiver again?
Kamara's top 10 every year in fantasy. Mason has had, 2 out of 3 good games as a rookie? I don't trust that.
Who was the receiver?
Who was it? Rashee Rice?
No, that he was giving up?
Pickens.
Oh. Yeah, I'd probably do that.
So you got a 1 over 1 for 1. I say no, he says yes.
Yeah. I think at the end of the year, Rashee Rice and Mason are going to combine for more points than Kamara and Pickens will. So that's the way I look at it.
It just says, what do you think of starting Kelsey this week? Well, it depends on what you have besides Kelsey, because tight ends are always very thin. I don't know what's going on with Kelsey as far as offense goes this year, but if you had, let's say you had Dalton Kincaid, Tucker Kraft, Justin Ferguson as your second guy, I would almost put them in until Kelsey has a good game. Because those guys are getting points.
Yeah, the problem is if you drafted Kelsey, you probably did it pretty highly and most likely didn't draft another tight end. If you've got somebody behind him to start that's in a good matchup, sure. But I'm not benching him just to pick somebody up off the waiver wire and play him. I am, if they're getting points. Forget that. Yeah. I'm not playing on the belief that he's going to play. Prove it to me. If there's a guy that's proved it already 3 weeks straight and got points that's sitting there waiting to go, he's going in for me. Well, yeah, if there's a tight end that's been scoring for 3 weeks that's on the waiver wire, sure, but that's what I'm talking about. But I'm not picking up someone and I'm not picking someone up and hoping and winging on a prayer when you know what Kelsey can do. But if you have a guy on the waiver wire or a backup that's proven that they're getting points this season, I'm starting them this week. Yeah. Trade away Deontay and Ertz for Brian Robinson and Andrews. That's rough. Because Andrews is like null and void for me right now. Yeah, Andrews is... I don't know what the hell they're doing. I probably would not do that. I'd rather have... I'd rather have Ertz, who's been a consistent tight end that you can plug in. And Deontay Johnson playing better with Andy Dalton at quarterback. Yeah. And, yeah, Andrews isn't even on the field. That's the scary thing. 2 comments from Gerard Raspberry. Trade CD and Etienne for Bijan. I have Rashid, DK, and Harrison Jr. still. Oh, absolutely. Then, yeah, crazy red receivers.
Yeah. Hold or trade Hawkinson?
Hold. I mean, if you could trade him to somebody who's desperate for a tight end and like rob them for 2 players, then maybe I would do it. But if you don't have a tight end, it's better just to hold him and play him when he's healthy.
Yeah. Last question. We're going to start our predictions. But Frank Carino asks, my team is Mayfield, Derrick Henry, Kamara, A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Goddard, Hubbard, Vikings defense, Moody. Is it valid? What do you think of that team?
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty decent. I worry for you with A.J. Brown being hurt, who your next up wide receiver is, but other than that, everyone else is pretty solid. Hubbard's another question mark for me, but
yeah, Jonathan Brooks is going to be back at some point, so that's going to get rough. But it's pretty good team.
Cool. All right, let's go to our predictions.
All right, so we'll dive in. So last week, week 3, you went 10 for 6. I went 8 for 8. So you were able to gain some ground on me. Now for the season, you are up by 1. It is 29
in my rightful place, I might add.
And 20 and 21 for me. Same number of games too. So we both missed our bonus the same amount of times.
Yeah.
But let's dive into this week. So tomorrow night's game: Cowboys at Giants. Cowboys by 5.5.
Cowboys at Giants. I want to pick the Giants, but your just absolute unwavering belief that the Cowboys will win makes me not want to. I'll take the Giants on the spread and the Cowboys to win. How's that?
But you're leading the picks, so would my unwavering belief be wrong?
It might be.
Just saying.
But I'm just going to stick with it.
If you believe in the Giants. All right, I'm going.
I believe that the Cowboys are bad, which gives the Giants a chance. So we'll see what happens. I might be wrong on this one tomorrow.
All right. Bengals at Panthers. Bengals by 4.5.
Bengals at Panthers. De facto 0-3 Bengals are 4.5 point favorites. Well, I mean, it is the Panthers. It's just that Bengals defense is so bad. I'm going to give the Bengals their first win in this game. And I'm going to say I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers win, just because the Bengals defense is that bad. But the Panthers offense isn't great. I mean, it did better with Andy Dalton, but this basically boils down to like the same thing as the last week's game with Washington. Who falters first? And I think the Panthers falter.
No. Yeah, I do like the Panthers to cover 4.5. I think this will be close if they don't win. I agree. I think the Panthers do have a chance. I'm much less confident in the Bengals. I'm still picking them, but I'm much less confident in them than I am in the Cowboys over the Giants. So
yeah,
it would be very interesting if the Panthers pull off another upset and the Bengals drop to 0-4. Broncos at Jets.
Panic would happen.
Yeah. Jets favored by 7.5 over the Broncos.
Broncos just can get no love after their win over the Tampa Bay Bucks. 7.5 favorites for the Jets. Yeah, I'm taking the Jets, and I'm going to call an Allen Lazard big game.
Oh, nice. Is he your fantasy wide receiver?
No, I dropped him after I picked him up after week 2, and then he had a big week 3. And so he had a big week 1, sucked in week 2. I dropped him, and then week 3 he did fine.
So then the pattern would be that he sucks in week 4.
I feel like since I don't have him on my team, he's going to be fine. The pattern is that when he was on my team, he was screwed.
So it's as long as he's nowhere near you, he's fine.
As long as I'm not touching Allen Lazard with a 10-foot pole, he's probably going to be fine.
All right, I'm going with the Jets as well, especially at home. Saints at Falcons. Falcons by 2.5.
I had to turn on the fan. It's freaking hot in here. All right, what did you say? Saints at Falcons. Falcons by 2.5. Saints have kind of fallen back to earth. The Falcons are just kind of chilling. This one's a interesting one for me. What are the records? We should start putting their records on this, just so we know.
Saints are 2-1. Falcons are 1-2.
Falcons are 1-2. That's what I thought they might be. I you know what? I'm gonna give the Saints a big bounce back after barely losing last week. I'm gonna take the Saints over the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm taking the Saints. I don't even know why the Falcons are favored, perfectly honest, besides that they're the home team. I think the Saints bounce back and win this game.
Yep.
Vikings at Packers. Packers by 2.5.
This one's tough to predict based on Jordan Love or Malik Willis being back, but I think they're the same team with both of them, it seems like. So I'm still going to pick the Vikings. I'd say the Vikings go to 4-0.
Yeah, I actually I think this is a great matchup between Brian Flores and Matt LaFleur, who are two very good coaches right now, doing their best. But I'm giving the nod to Brian Flores. He shut down the 49ers and the Texans. I think he can shut down the Packers. So yeah, I'm picking the Vikings.
Yep.
Jags at Texans. Texans by 6.5.
Do I need to say it out loud?
I just for legal purposes, yes.
For legal purposes only. Texans beat the Jags. Beat the brakes off the Jags. How's that?
Now, here's the funny thing. I would not be surprised, honestly, if the Jags win this game, just because that's the way this year's going so far in the NFL. It's crazy shit just happens every week. Right. But the Texans absolutely should win this game. Steelers at Colts. Steelers by 1.5.
I feel like the Colts win this game simply to continue the craziness of the quarterback situation of the Steelers. Because
okay.
Fields has been winning. He hasn't been breaking the stats wide open, but he's been winning. So I feel like Colts are going to win this game, and then the next week all we're going to hear about is, will Russell Wilson be healthy enough to start? And then everyone else will be like, well, Justin Fields.
I think he's already healthy.
Yeah, that's the question. That's the thing, right? So we'll see. I'll say Colts.
All right, you're going with the Colts. I'm going to go with the Steelers. I just think that defense is going to shut down Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. But I mean, that is literally a 1.5 spread is one of the closest of the week. So that is going to be a very interesting game. Rams at Bears. Bears by 2.5.
Rams. Why are the Bears favored? Explain.
Yeah, this is a lot like the Saints and Falcons game. I think it's because the Bears are the home team. I'm going with the Rams.
If that's the only reason, I do not understand.
The Bears absolutely need to win this game. Otherwise, I think Matt Eberflus is already on the hot seat. You can't waste a quarterback, and they're not going to sit around and let terrible coaching waste Caleb Williams like it did Justin Field and Mitch Trubisky. Like, just a vicious cycle for the Bears.
Yeah.
Eagles at Bucks. Eagles by 2.5.
It's this another hard one to pick simply because the Eagles looked human, I guess, against the Saints. Mm-hmm. But then also the Buccaneers got absolutely throttled last week. So I'm going to pick the Eagles. Despite the fact that their wide receiver injuries. They still have Saquon Barkley.
Right. Saquon, Goddard, Johnny Wilson apparently. I got to go with the Eagles. I just think the Bucks, the Eagles defense, I mean, they've got Vic Fangio. They've got a good defense. I think they'll be able to shut down Baker Mayfield like the Broncos did.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots at 49ers. 49ers by 10.
49ers by 10, yeah. I can in good conscience pick the Patriots after last week. I thought they did really well in weeks 1 and 2, but they showed who they were last week. So definitely 49ers.
Yeah. Even shorthanded and even... Now, well, I'll say this. If Brock Purdy doesn't play, the Patriots have a better chance, but I still think Josh Dobbs can beat them too. So, 49ers.
Yeah.
Commanders at Cardinals. Cardinals by 3.5.
This is tough. Do we know if Trey McBride's playing yet?
He's questionable, and I don't think he is going to play.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm going to take the Commanders. I don't believe in the Cardinals right now.
Now, here's the thing. If the Commanders go out and play like they did on Monday night, they will win this game. My fear is that they're going to fall into their own ego after everybody's talking about them right now. And they're going to not take it seriously and get humbled, as they say. On the other hand, Cliff Kingsbury knows Kyler Murray very well. He should be able to help that defense know exactly how to shut Kyler down. Mm-hmm. Kyler's going to be very motivated to beat Cliff Kingsbury and prove that Cliff was the problem and not Kyler. There's a lot of narratives in this game, and I love it. It's going to be such a fun game. I'm picking the Cardinals because I do worry about the Commanders buying into their own hype a little bit.
So if you listen to Kyler's interview, he puts no stock or care into the fact that Kingsbury's there.
No, of course he's going to say that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing, and that's what I'm going to say. If the Commanders win this game and they do it in a similar, very efficient fashion that they have the last 2 weeks, then I will truly believe in that offense. I will truly, and then I'm going to start looking at the rest of the season like, oh shit, we're going to beat the Browns. We're going to beat the Panthers. Like shit, we might be a playoff team. I need to see, like doing it against the Bengals Monday night. Anybody can pull off a surprise upset. Be consistent. That's a big thing for me. So this is a big game for the Commanders season. If they win this game and go to 3-1, then all of a sudden I will start looking at playoff scenarios. So very, very exciting.
All right.
Browns at Raiders. Raiders by 1.5. Somehow.
I said they don't even know who's starting the game for them.
Yeah.
But the Browns' offense is just so bad. Starting the game for them.
Yeah.
But the Browns' offense is just so bad. The good news is the Browns have a good defense. I'm going to take the Browns.
Yeah, this is an ugly game. I'm taking the Browns. I don't know what the fuck Vegas is thinking.
Selfishly, I really want the Raiders to keep losing because the belief is that the Lions are going to trade for Max Crosby. And if they keep losing, they'll be more willing to trade Max Crosby to the Lions.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Marcus Davenport down for the season and Lee McNeil banged up, Derek Barnes out for extended time, like we need another piece for the defensive line, and Max Crosby would be crazy lined up next to Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I'm also going with the Browns. I don't believe in the Raiders until they find a quarterback. Chiefs at Chargers. Chiefs by 7.5.
Chiefs, I mean, Justin Herbert hurt. He may play. How long does he play if he does? And then on top of that...
He should not play. That dude
he shouldn't,
keep getting
but the odds are, just like Tua should not play last year. Like, there's quarterbacks just play regardless for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs. I think they beat the Chargers even if Herbert was healthy, and they're definitely beat him if he's not. Yeah. Bills at Ravens. Ravens by 2.5.
That's rough. 1-2 Ravens versus the undefeated Bills. Ravens get the nod as the favorite. Interesting.
Yeah.
See,
Do you know Aiden Hutchinson's leading the league in sacks right now?
I'm not surprised. He had four and a half in one game. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just looking at the stats here.
Nice. I want to take the Bills, but then at that point I've taken so many underdogs. It's like, what are the odds that I am that right? I feel like I am right, though. Feel like Bills are going to beat the Ravens.
All right. Taking the Bills.
I'm
taking the Bills, and it wasn't even a question for me. Yeah, I honestly am taking the Bills, and I'm confident in it. The Bills look dominant. The Ravens look not.
I just don't feel like Derrick Henry is going to get 150 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game. Exactly. Yeah. It's like
I don't.
That was the main consideration.
I don't know why the Ravens are favored. It's very weird.
I agree.
But yeah, Bills for sure. Titans at Dolphins. Dolphins by 1.5.
Titans, Dolphins by 1.5. We don't even know who's starting again. But I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because Levis is terrible. I'll take the Dolphins.
Going with the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Titans to get their first win. This is a crapshoot, so might as well be different.
Yeah. If it's Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley, they got no chance.
Yeah. But it got to be a little different. We only had one difference so far, so it's like, I'll mix it up. That one's literally flipping a coin.
Do we only have one different? You know what's funny is I picked so many underdogs that I thought were going to win, but then you also did the same. That I thought we had more different.
No, we had 2. I forgot about the Cardinals Commanders. So we actually have 3 different then.
Gotcha.
Colts, Steelers, Cardinals, Commanders, now Dolphins, Titans. The Titans, it's like, I have to imagine they've got to win a game eventually, and this is the time to do it. So,
yeah.
All right, last one: Seahawks, Lions. Lions by 3.5.
I hate picking these games. I hate picking my team's games. Like, despise it. 3-0 Seahawks, but they're at the Lions. I'm going to pick the Lions simply because Goff is so good at home. The Lions are at home. They should be 3-0, I believe. The only way that this game gets blown away on the other side for the Seahawks to beat the Lions is the fact that the defensive line is so beat up. We're missing one of our main linebackers. Like, the defense just got beat up in the Cardinals game. Like, we beat the Cardinals, but at what cost, right? So, as long as the line has enough people on it to cover Davenport until we can get a trade in for someone to get here or find someone off the street, which is probably not going to happen, we should be fine. Kenneth Walker out, I believe. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine.
I'm going to go with Seattle, and I'm doing it for 2 reasons. One, I'm trying to help the Lions by picking against them. That usually works with my bad luck. 2, I feel like Seattle just always plays Detroit tough. I don't know why, but I just feel like every time there's a Seattle-Detroit game, it's always a very tough game for Detroit. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I was trying to look up the last time they played.
I got you. They actually played last year. I already got it
up.
Yeah. Last year they played the Seahawks and lost 37-31 in overtime. I mean, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 0-6 in their last 6 games. 1-7 in their last 7 games. Going back to 2012 for their last win.
I mean, maybe it was a.
But look at these. Look at these scores for the last 2 years. 37-31 last year they lost. The Lions lost. 48-45 the year before that they lost. The year before that they lost 51-29. The scores are crazy. So if you're looking for offense, it'll be happening in this game. but I'm still going to take the Lions to break the streak.
No, and Pete Carroll's gone, so maybe it was a Pete Carroll thing. But I am, I'm gonna go different, and hopefully it gives the Lions the extra mojo to get the win. So
AJR in chat. We do answer questions. We just still got to get through our podcast stuff. We just try to get through our stuff.
Yeah.
Go back to questions.
Usually,
yeah. So we're gonna all the questions in the chat now. We're going to answer. It's just if we continue to answer the questions from the chat, we'll never get through the stuff for the podcast. And that's the only reason we haven't answered them yet. So now we can answer the questions.
Yeah, let's pick our bonuses, and then we'll answer some questions.
The bonuses?
I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Or the Giants? Okay. Give me the 49ers over the Patriots. No, that's -10. I can't pick that one.
Yeah, that's -10.
Where's that 6.5 one? Texans over the Jags.
Texans? All right.
Yep.
There we go. All right, yeah, let's do some questions before we get into fantasy sleepers.
Brendan Powers, I've seen your question twice, so let me answer it very emphatically. I would not, unless you're in the Dynasty League, I would not trade Marvin Harrison for Tyreek.
No.
Tyreek, proven player. Yeah.
If I'm in a dynasty, I would trade Tyreek for Marvin Harrison.
Yes, exactly. I said if you're not in a dynasty, that trade is not it.
Yeah.
So.
Especially with Tua probably missing a lot of time, Tyreek's not going to do shit.
Yeah, exactly. Let me scroll up a little here, get some of the questions that were while we were doing that. Should I give up on Ridley?
Yeah, because Levis is terrible.
I'm sure there's someone on your waiver wire that is probably doing better off than he is currently. And the thing is, if you're in a bad spot because of Ridley, you'll have the waiver wire to pick him back up if you have to. Yeah. Marvin, Goodwin, or CD? Choose two.
Definitely Marvin Harrison against the Commanders.
Questionable, so as long as he's healthy, playing.
Yeah, everybody's questionable at this point. CD and Godwin were the other two.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably go with Godwin. I feel like the Bucs are going to have to throw a lot against the Eagles.
Yeah,
it's tough to bench CD Lamb, though.
Especially against the Giants.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you know what? I switch that. Go with CD. CD and Martin Harrison. You can't bench CD Lamb.
Burrow and Amon-Ra for Allen and Etienne. No. If you have Burrow and Amon-Ra, keep them. Burrow's still getting points despite being 0-3. Amon-Ra will always get you a point as Etienne plays for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
No matter how good Josh Allen is.
Yeah.
So, would you do Devin Akane and Amari Cooper for Justin Jefferson?
Yes. Well, what other? If you have two other running backs that you can start, yes.
Yeah. I agree with that. Do I start Reed, Deontay, or Diggs at flex?
I'd probably go with Diggs against the Jags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm with you. Who are the Panthers playing? The Bengals? Ooh. I don't know, man. Deontay against the Bengals. That Bengals defense is a tasty matchup there.
Yeah, just hope Andy Dalton can do it again.
A second week? Yeah. I'd wait for. I'd probably wait on that one to prove it next week.
Yeah.
Let's see. Thoughts on CMC? Is he coming back this season or is he done? I think he's done for the season. That's me. The
if
injury
his
he
was
had
truly week to week, like they said in week 1, he wouldn't be flying to Germany to see experts. I don't think he comes back this season at all.
what was it, plantar fasciitis or
I
ankle
think it's like
tendonitis?
tendonitis. It's like Achilles tendonitis or something. Yeah, it's.
Look up the recovery time online of Achilles tendonitis. That week to week thing didn't make any sense when they said it to me. It's 3 to 6 months is what the earliest is listed for that, and there's been no sightings of him. He's flying to Germany. Yeah, so I think he's done for the season.
Yep, and I drafted him number 1 overall in the league, but thank God I took Jordan Mason as a handcuff.
Dak Prescott or Mahomes for week 4?
Chiefs play the Chargers.
Chargers without Derwin James. And Dak plays the Giants.
I'd honestly go with Dak. I think the Giants will be able to score and keep the game interesting at least. I worry about the Chiefs getting up 14-0 and then just running out the clock. So I'd probably go with Dak.
Okay. Walker and J.K. Dobbins for Kyron and Carson Steele. Ugh.
No.
Anything involving Carson Steele, in my opinion, is not a good deal.
No.
Because A, Pacheco's coming back. B, Kareem Hunt just signed to the Chiefs. And Carson Steele started the season as a fullback. He's not going to be there half the time.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to come back. Yeah.
Hubbard or Singletary? I personally picked Singletary this week against the Cowboys defense that has been bad.
Yeah, they just got gashed by Derrick Henry. Yeah, I'd go Singletary this week.
Is Rome Odunze worth a flex? Bears are playing the Rams. Yeah.
I think Caleb feels more comfortable with Rome Odunze than anybody else. So I think he's a good flex play, assuming you don't have any other options. I'd rather have Odunze than picking some random person up, basically. But I wouldn't be playing him over Godwin or McLaurin or something like that.
Ooh, that Jacob. I don't know about that. Says, I traded Tyreek and J.K. Dobbins for Nico Collins and Kenneth Walker. W question mark?
The thing is, Tyreek Hill, if without Tua, is not the same Tyreek Hill. So I honestly don't hate it. It's Tyreek is not going to be the same guy until Tua comes back. And if Tua doesn't come back till week 10 or 12, like, you're getting some solid weeks of Nico Collins and
Kenneth Walker when he comes back.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, J.K. Dobbins looks really good right now. I'm hoping he stays healthy all year. But if you're playing the odds, he's not. So, yeah, I don't hate that trade.
God, where to go? Pickens or Deontay this week? Pickens is playing the Colts. Deontay is playing the
Bengals.
That Bengals.
I'd go Deontay Johnson over Pickens.
Yeah, I agree. Because if Fields is the starter, like is the feeling right now, he's not throwing for a ton of yards. And I did.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to start until he fucks up, basically. Like, so he's starting this week. I just don't think he's going. George Pickens isn't going to have a blow-up game with Justin Fields as his quarterback, where Deontay Johnson just had a heck of a game. So, yeah, I'd feel more comfortable with Johnson.
Agreed. Trade London and Charbonnet for DJ Moore and Jaden Reed.
Yes. Yeah. Charbonnet's a backup, so when Kenneth Walker comes back, he's not going to get you nearly as much. Jaden Reed's going to be, look at what's a backup, so when Kenneth Walker comes back, he's not going to get you nearly as much. Jaden Reed's going to be, look at what he did week 1 with Jordan Love. Like, he is Jordan Love's buddy. So, yeah, I'd like to have him.
Would you trade Scary Terry for Swift? I'm down running backs.
No. Swift may not even be the starter in Chicago. Go pick up Roshan Johnson. Like, that's everybody in Chicago talking about how he's going to get more involved because he's the only one who can run between the tackles. I would just go do that. I would not trade away Terry for Swift.
Yeah, I don't trust Swift at all.
No.
It says Amari Cooper or Deontay Johnson. Amari's playing the Raiders. I'd still probably go with Amari. Even though I say Deontay Johnson's going to have a big game this week, I'd still go with Amari.
Yeah, in that instance, I'd go with Amari Cooper because I trust Deshaun Watson and Cooper together more than Andy Dalton and Deontay Johnson. So, yeah.
If the Browns are going to have offense, at the very least, it's going to be Cooper and Watson hooking up.
Yeah.
Jordan Mason and Alan Lazard for A.J. Brown. I don't have the best running back too.
So he's trading away Jordan Mason and Alan Lazard to get A.J. Brown?
That's what I was wondering. If you don't have a great running back too, why would you trade away a running back?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't do that. Jordan Mason's going to be a solid running back for you for probably the rest of the season. So, no, I would not do that trade.
No. He says no. Other way around. So he'd be trading... Okay, yeah.
Then, yeah. I assume you have two other startable receivers. So, yeah, I would do that trade. I'd like Jordan Mason, and Lazard is Aaron Rodgers' friend, so he's going to be involved. Yeah, so I'm okay with that trade.
Gotcha. Amari Cooper and Evan Ingram for CMC and Christian Kirk. Ooh. I don't think I would be... Unless, is this Dynasty League? Because I always assume all these are one-year leagues with redrafts because I'm not trading anything for CMC this year.
Basically, you're trading two players for one, and that one player is Christian Kirk, who is completely underwhelming right now, and absolutely not do that trade.
Yeah. And you already have Evan Ingram from that team to put in a trade to try to get a guy from the same team? I don't think so. Personally.
No, I would not do that.
Trade Cup for J.K. Dobbins and Chris... What? People are offering you that? Cup for J.K. Dobbins and Chris Godwin.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yes. Before they change their mind.
Yeah. Before they pull that trade back, hit the trigger.
Yeah.
All right, we got like 6 more questions, but let's go do our fantasy picks, which might answer some of these questions, and then we'll come and get the last of the questions before we're done here.
All right, we'll bust through our review of last week pretty fast. So quarterback-wise, I picked Goff against the Cardinals. He was ranked 15th, finished 17th, so kind of where he was. Didn't move up the board. You had Sam Darnold versus Houston. He was ranked 14th and finished 7th. Good call. He went off against them. Running backs, we both missed. I had Zamir White going against the terrible Panthers defense. Unfortunately, Alexander, we both missed. I had Zamir White going against the terrible Panthers defense. Unfortunately, Alexander Madison seems to have overtaken him. He finished with 3.4 points. You had Jerome Ford versus the Giants. He was ranked 24th and finished 29th, so a little underwhelming. Receivers. I had Deontay Johnson. He was ranked 29th, and I guaranteed an anytime touchdown for him. He finished 6th and caught a touchdown. So that is 3 for 3 on my guarantee bets to start the year. You picked Rashid Shaheed versus Philly. He was ranked 25th and finished with a goose egg.
I just spelled that wrong. I meant to say Rashi Rice.
Oh, okay. Well, no credits for spelling it wrong. Tight ends, I went with Hunter Henry. He was ranked 14th and finished with 2.9 points. You had Cade Otton versus Denver. He was ranked 24th and finished 7th. So you did what is almost impossible.
I picked a tight end.
Yes. What? Picking a good tight end, which is damn near impossible.
Especially when especially when Tampa Bay did so bad last week.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mike Evans was shut down, so he just threw to Cade Otton all day.
Mm-hmm.
This week, my quarterback, I'm going with Deshaun Watson. playing against Las Vegas. He's ranked 26th. I just feel like Vegas ain't that good. Cleveland ain't that good. But the Deshaun Watson can put up more points than the 26th ranked. I don't think he's going to finish top 12, but he'll at least finish above that. You're going with Andy Dalton coming off a big game. He's ranked 20th right now, and they are playing the Bengals, who just got destroyed by the
Bengals
Commanders.
defense.
Yep.
Let's go.
Or are the Bengals going to be motivated after getting embarrassed on national TV, and they're going to destroy Andy Dalton?
That's the real
We shall
question.
see.
The Red Rocket comes
running
back to
backs.
earth.
Yes, yeah, who knows? Running
see.
backs, I mentioned it. I'm going with Rashawn Johnson. He's ranked 51st. I truly believe that he's going to get a lot of usage for the Bears, who desperately need to establish the run. Should be pretty easy to finish above the 51st running back. But we'll see.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw your pick, I'm like, 51st? That's easy to get a
Should be an easy one, but I'm hoping he finishes like 15th, not 30th. But we'll see. You're going with Devin Singletary. You mentioned it against Dallas tomorrow night. He's ranked 19th right now. Receivers. We talked about Stephon Diggs. That's who you're going with. He's ranked 21st. I do like him against Jacksonville. I'm going with Khalil Shakir. He's ranked 28th at Baltimore. And my guarantee for this week, which I don't feel as confident in, is him over 100 yards. He hasn't done it yet in his first 3 weeks. He really seems to be solidifying himself as the number one option in Buffalo. So I'm calling it. I think this game, unlike the Jags, Baltimore can at least keep it interesting. Buffalo will keep throwing, and hopefully Shakir will get to those 100 yards. So we shall see. Tight ends. Going with Pat Freiermuth for Pittsburgh. He's ranked 16th right now at Indy.
And he had a good week last week, I believe.
He did, and Indy just got destroyed by Cole Kmet, so that was kind of my thinking there. And you've got Tyler Conklin. He's ranked 22nd versus Denver. I like that, because if Surtain shuts down Garrett Wilson, I could definitely see them throwing to Tyler Conklin, so I like that call.
And that game, that half a game I watched last Thursday, Conklin was definitely being looked at a lot of the game, so.
Yeah, he's definitely involved.
So.
All right, well, there you go.
All right. We'll finish off on these questions up here. We got Etienne or Singletary this week.
Singletary.
Yeah, I agree.
We just talked about it.
I just picked him. Yep. Trade Olave and Aaron Jones for Zay Flowers and Kenneth Walker. There are a lot of people in chat talking about trade offers for Kenneth Walker. A lot of people with that questionable tag. And the funny thing is, he's coming back from his injury very soon. So,
well, that's a good opportunity. People trying to get him while he's hurt, so that whoever has him, if they need to start with somebody this week, then they may be willing to give up Kenneth Walker for cheaper. The thing is, I do like Aaron Jones, though. I think he's a serviceable guy. Ready to me again? Sorry, who were the receivers?
It was Olave and Jones for Flowers and Walker.
See, I'd rather have Olave than Flowers. And then the running backs are, to me, pretty even. So I probably would do the trade. Whichever side gets you Olave and Jones.
Yeah.
So either keep them or trade. So
Alex says bench Tyreek this week. Rashe, Olave, and Terry are my other receivers.
Gosh, that's tough. I probably
Who are the Dolphins playing?
They are playing.
I know we just talked about it, but I got the memory of a goldfish. The Titans.
The Titans, yeah. If you don't want to bench Tyreek, I'd probably bench Olave out of that group. But I'm honestly okay benching Tyreek. We talk about Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley. We like him, but I don't know what he's going to look like coming off the street after a week. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay benching Tyreek.
Pick 3 out of 4 this week in a PPR. Jacobs, Garrett Wilson, Diggs, Deontay. It'll only need 2 if Devonta Smith plays.
I don't think Devonta Smith's going to play.
I'll take Diggs, Deontay, and Jacobs.
Yeah, those are the 3 I was thinking of. The 4th one was
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that just the Patrick Surtain thing worries me. So I'd probably pick the same 3.
Drop Pacheco to add Braylon Allen, which I wrote him in chat and said, do you not have an IR spot? Because while I love Braylon Allen, not have an IR spot because while I love Braylon Allen, I don't know that I would be dropping Pacheco for Braylon Allen.
If you don't have an IR spot and you need a running back right now, then yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Pacheco is coming back from a broken leg. So I don't know how healthy he's going to be when he comes back right away. They may want to spell him with Edwards-Helaire or Kareem Hunt or something, so I'm okay with it.
Moss or Jacobs? You feel like what?
I was going to say, I feel like Braylon Allen and Breece Hall are going to be like the Lions do with Gibbs and Montgomery. They're both going to be involved enough that you can start them both.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're almost already
I'd go with Josh Jacobs over Zach Moss.
Yeah, I think we talked about Moss earlier and where he's at. Hold Pittman or trade?
Trade if you can get something for him.
No.
I don't know what you're going to get at this point, but yeah.
I traded Rashee Rice, Dobbins, and Mason for Barkley. Wow. Question mark. That is rough.
No.
I think you got hosed.
Yeah, sorry, man. Sorry, I don't like trading 3 guys for 1 unless I'm trading 3 average. You traded 3 starters for 1 starter.
Rashee Rice had 12 catches last week. Dobbins has been, the first 2 weeks was really good. Came back to average last week. Dobbins has been, the first 2 weeks was really good. Came back to average last week. And then Mason's the starting halfback of the Niners, doing pretty well. I don't know.
Best case scenario for him is Christian McCaffrey comes back immediately. J.K. Dobbins gets hurt, and they go to Gus Edwards, and then it's basically just Rashee Rice for Barkley. But yeah, I don't think both those things are going to happen. Yeah, that's a rough trade. Would not have done that in mind. I wish you the best, though.
Thanks for the help, y'all. You're welcome, Doo-Wop. Appreciate you, man. CJ Stroud or Dak this week?
We talked about Dak.
Yeah, this is the one where it's like both of them could be teeing off this week. I think I would take Stroud because the Jacksonville Jaguars just look so bad.
Yeah, again, my fear in a game like that is that if they score early and then they kind of take their foot off the gas. But coming off a loss like the Texans just did, they should be motivated to blow the Jags out. So I'd go with Stroud. They should want to put up 30 against Jacksonville.
Said he came back with some comments on the trade, the 3-for-1. So you could at least ask my roster instead of dissing. We're not trying to diss. All right, I drafted Rice.
I would have done it, man.
I drafted Rice at 88, Dobbins at 120. My team is deep. Okay. Well, I don't know what the rest. Can you list out parts of your team? I'm curious. What you have?
Yeah, if all 3 of those guys were sitting on your bench,
if they're bench players and you're going to start Barkley, that's good for you. But if it was 3 of your starters to get 1 starter, that's where
I just think,
you know what I mean?
Like value-wise, those 3 are all high-value players. Like even if they weren't to you, if they were all on your bench, they're still 3 high-value players. Trading 3 of them for 1 is a little rough to me.
You might have been able to flipped some of them with other parts for another Barkley-esque player.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm getting at.
Yeah, there. I mean, I'm sure there's other teams that like you could have traded two of them for one guy or one for one. Like, but I get like if you swinging for the fences, getting a running back like Barkley for three things that are sitting on your bench. It's just that's a high price to pay. Those are three good players.
All right. We'll answer three more questions. Three more, and then we got to go. It's been a while tonight. Robert Black. I have Mahomes, Montgomery, and Waddle, and trade for Kyron Williams and Jonathan Taylor. A good trade. So you're trading Mahomes, Montgomery, and Waddle for Williams and Taylor. Yeah, I want to know who your quarterback is. If you don't have Mahomes.
If you got a solid quarterback, I like that. That's a good trade.
Yeah, because Waddle has not been what I expected so far this year, and then now the two is gone. It's rough. Yeah. I have Mahomes, Montgomery, Waddle. I'm going to. Okay, you asked the same question there. Love. He's got Jordan Love as his backup.
I mean, you gotta hope Love plays this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably do it. I think Love should be solid for the rest of the season. So yeah, I'd probably still do it.
All right, two more questions. We got Daniel Jones. What? Okay, well, Daniel Jones, Carr, or Richardson. I'm gonna put a line through Daniel Jones immediately. Of those three, I'd pick Richardson. Dual threat quarterbacks almost always are the pick in fantasy football.
Yeah, they're playing the Steelers defense, which is the only thing that gives me trepidation, as they say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would probably honestly go with Carr, just because that Steelers defense worries me a lot. But you're right. I mean, the dual threat thing gives Richardson a lot of points, so totally fine playing him. But I'd feel more confident in Carr.
Yeah. Seti says he's got Kyron Williams, Devonta Smith, Drake London, Kupp, Pollard, and CMC.
But he has CMC and he's giving up Jordan Mason. This is the 3-for-1, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm assuming he's been starting Jordan Mason. Now he's going to put Saquon Barkley there. So, yeah, it's a good team. I just think three players that quality for one guy is whoever you traded to got the better deal. And I don't like to trade like that.
Not the better deal, but that doesn't mean obviously that you're going to start losing. It's just feels like they got the better end.
They were all sitting on his bench. It just really helped out the guy that gave up Barkley. I don't like helping out my opponents.
Last question here, and it was: should I start Daniels over Mahomes?
Oh my gosh, that's a tough question because I don't want to come at it like a Commander fan. But again, the Commanders' offense to win games has to put up 30 to 40 points because the defense is going to give up at least 30 points. So Daniels is going to have to run and throw. Where the Chiefs against a Herbertless Chargers team, really are not going to have to try that hard. So I would probably go Daniels.
Cool. All right, well, then that is going to do it for us this week for episode 8. If you are new here, thanks everybody for hanging out in the chat. I know we're not like super focused on the chat all the time. That's because we've always been a podcast and we're trying to record the podcast part and get to the chat. So we're trying to balance the two. So if you're new here, that's what's going on. With that said, you can always find the podcast anywhere you find podcasts. You can look up Coffin Corner and you'll find it there. And the recording of what we just did will be there. So if you missed an answer to your question, you were here earlier, you asked the questions, we went back and answered it. if you want the answer to that question, go listen to the podcast. You'll find the answer there after whatever section you asked it in. So if that makes sense. As well, if you're here now, you want to come back next week for more questions, you want to, tell us how we helped your team this week, that'd be awesome. We're here every Wednesday at between 5 and 7. We start-ish, 5 and 7 Pacific. So if you come back next week, we'll be right back here. So hope to see a bunch of you guys back. Let us know how you did. That'd be awesome. But other places you can find us, if you're listening to the podcast and you want to be part of the questions, you can come to Coffin Corner Podcast on TikTok. You can find us on X at Coffin Corners. And all of these live streams we do here are then uploaded to YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/@Coffin Corner, you can find the live streams re-recorded over there. As far as that goes, Richie, you got anything else you want to say?
No, just thanks everybody that joined us. And put your questions and comments in chat. My phone finally started updating the comments on the live, so I was able to see them. So hopefully that won't have that issue next week. But yeah, follow us, join us every Wednesday night. We're happy to answer questions. Love to see how our advice turned out. You can yell at us if we gave bad advice. We can take it. Nobody has come back and said a bad thing. So, we're just going to keep giving out bad advice until someone tells us it's bad. So there you go. Yeah, or at least we missed it if they did. So we turned a blind eye to it. No.
Yeah, never saw that chat.
TikTok. We're trying to be more active, posting funny TikToks for you guys. So
never saw that chat.
TikTok. We're trying to be more active, posting funny TikToks for you guys. So follow us on here. Join us every Wednesday night. Check us out on Twitter on Sundays during the game. We try and post when we're not at them. We were at the game last week, so we weren't very active on Twitter. But yeah, that's all I had.
Sweet. All right. Well, thanks everybody. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next week. As always, good luck to your teams, unless they're playing mine.